Hello, hello, hello mga kaibigan, mga friends ko po dito sa Malaysia, mga kababayan ko po dito sa Malaysia, especially dito sa Sabah and very specific dito sa Kota Kinabalu, mga kababayan na kaibigan ko dyan po sa Pilipinas, as well as ang mga kababayan na kaibigan natin po dyan sa iba-ibang parte sa mundo, especially ang mga overseas Filipino workers natin who we call them as the modern heroes po ng Filipino. No? So, thanks God, it's Friday. Today is the first day of the month and of course, a brand new month na naman po, no? August na tayo, August 1st. And sana lang po, we will start the first day of the month. We will start this month, the start of this month in a very, very, sabihin natin, magandang feelings natin po. And I hope everything will run smoothly until the end of August. Those who are celebrating the birthday todays or any special occasions, I would like to greet all of you happy birthday and enjoy your celebration, special occasions po or celebrations ninyo po. And sana lang po, this will be, ang mga okasyon ninyo po will be a very fruitful, memorable, and problem-free celebrations. Ito na po, si Nico Fabian once again inviting all of you to join itong programa natin, NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. And may mga topics tayo ngayon which we are going to discuss during the program. Itong program natin, NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. And to start with, mga issues that we are going to touch is one, ang narinig natin na ang some of the senators, a number of them, will be moving a resolution, a motion, a resolution asking the Senate being spearheaded by Senate President Chis Escudero to continue with the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte, and at the same time, wait for the decision of the Supreme Court when they will file for the motion for reconsideration, seeking the Supreme Court to reverse ang decision nila declaring the impeachment article of Inday Sara Duterte as unconstitutional. Yon po. And we'll be also touching on narinig natin and still from last week hanggang ngayon po, marami pa mga Filipinos, mga Filipinos po. I still remember the words of the statement of no less than our president, si President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos, saying, mahiya kayo, no? Mahiya kayo. Sabi niya sa State of the Nation address niya when he was referring about itong infrastructure development programs dyan po sa Pilipinas na sabi niya, not only him, but I suppose everybody knows about itong SOP. SOP, mga under the table, mga hingi ng na pera sa mga proyekto po. And at the same time, yun haka-haka or yun mga ghost projects po. Not only dyan po sa projects related to the flood mitigation projects or program ng gobyerno Marcos, but also other infrastructure development projects sa Pilipinas. There are still a lot of people are saying, and until now, they are shouting, not only sa mainstream media, but also dyan po sa social media, which we can see that they are saying, shouting, yun, wag kayo magiging walang hiya. Yun po ang sigaw ng karamihan ng mga Filipinos po. We will be touching on that thing, and of course, we will also be touching on the updates regarding situation, what is happening dyan po sa The Hague, wherein our former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte is still under detention, under the custody of the International Criminal Court. At the same time, siguro later on, towards the end of our program, we will also be touching on the complaint filed against two personalities, together with the supporters, to three personalities din po dyan sa Pilipinas on the complaint of indirect contempt sa Supreme Court po. Yun po ang mga issue that we are going to touch this or today, August 1st, dito po sa programa natin, NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. So, okay, wag na tayo mag-delay. First thing first po, what I'm going to share with you po. No? And I believe ang mga kababayan natin po, mga Filipinos dito sa Malaysia, dito sa Sabah, particularly dito po sa Kota Kinabalu City, the lone city of Sabah is Malaysia. And of course, ang neighboring state natin dito po, ang Sarawak. Mga Filipinos po, I think they also want to know anong latest developments sa sitwasyon ni Tatay Digong o former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Mayroon tayo dito clippings po, report ito po about Tatay Digong dyan po sa The Hague or sa Netherlands. Huwag na tayo mag-delay and let me share with you itong footage po. Footage report ito po, no? Saan na ito? 243 ang queue natin. Sandali lang po, 243. And nandito po, let's watch and listen to this footage po. I prepared this for all of you. Nandito po.
Mahigit 140 araw simula nang dalhin at i-detain si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte sa ICC Detention Facility. Kabilang si Hanalet Tabansenya sa pinayagang makadalaw sa dating Pangulo. Kaya ganun na lamang ang gulat ni Hanalet na kasilado ang kanyang pagbisita.
Nakikipag-ugnayan na po sila sa kanilang abogado at inaasahan natin na magkakaroon ng kasagutan ng hukuman sa lalong mabilis na panahon dahil ang importante nga po sa pamilyang Pilipino at sa sambayanang Pilipino ay malaman ang kalagayan ni Tatay Digong dahil siya ay 80 anyos na.
Balik Netherlands si Hanilet na nakatoka sa pamilya na magbantay sa kalagayan ni Duterte. Pinakahuling dalaw nito ay noong Miyerkules sa nakaraang linggo. Ito na rin ang pinakamatagal na panahon na walang pamilya na nakadalaw kay Duterte.
Pero whether or not matuloy o hindi, ang alam ko, ang pulisiya ng pamilya ay merong isang matitira rito, isang next of kin, para kung merong mangyari kay Tatay Digong. So may bisita o wala, meron pong kamag-anak dito na mananatili sa dahig hanggang mapalitan si Ma'am Hanilet, hindi po siya aalis.
4 na araw kada linggo ang schedule ng bisita tuwing Lunes, Martes, Miyerkules at Biyernes. Ikinalungkot naman ng mga taga-suporta ng dating Pangulo ang kanselasyon ng pagbisita ni Hanilet.
God bless. I'm positive. We love our president, former president, very much. We prayed outside.
Sa harap ng kanselasyon ng pagbisita ni Hanilet sa kulungan, lumabas naman ang report na nais umano ni dating Pangulong Duterte na umalis na sa The Hague si Roque at harapin ang kaso sa Pilipinas.
Well, unang-una po, no? Nagtataka ako na nabanggit yan ni Mr. Kaufman kasi sinabi ni Pangulo, wika daw ni Tatay Digong pag siya'y makalabas na kung unang-unang daw hanapin niya. Nais ko makita niya ako dito sa dahig kung siya man ay makakalaya. Pangalawa, pagpasensyahin na po pero ako po'y may isang salita. Sinabi ko po na hindi ako aalis ng dahig na hindi kasama si Tatay Digong. Paninindigan ko po yan. Kalalagarin na nila ako kung gusto nila paalis dito sa dahig. Pero hanggang hindi kasama si Tatay Digong, di po tayo aalis sa dahig.
Biyernes o bukas, nakatakdas na ng pagdalaw ng pamilya sa loob ng kulungan kung saan nakadetain si dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Subalit hinihintay pa natin kung mapapasama na sa listahan ng pangalan ni Hanilet makakapunta o makakadalaw sa dating Pangulo.
Alright, yan po ang latest updates regarding ang sitwasyon ni Tatay Digong dyan po sa The Hague o dyan po sa detention center ng International Criminal Court po. And let's hope that today, Friday, no? Friday ngayon po, si Madam, the lawful common wife of Tatay Digong, si Madam Hanilet, will be able to visit already ang former president natin si Tatay Digong. Kasi the ICC has given four visiting rights po, no, to the immediate family of Tatay Digong po in a week. In other words, 4 na beses, they can go and visit si Tatay Digong dyan po sa detention center po. So, ang pamilya, ang mga anak ni Tatay Digong, as well as ang wife ni Tatay Digong, si Madam Elizabeth, as well as ang common law wife ni Tatay Digong, si Madam Manilet, they are taking turns po, no? They don't want that Tatay Digong will be left alone dyan po sa The Hague, no? Kaya nga, maskin paano, they are trying their level best, any one of them, they will make sure that mayroon immediate relative dyan po sa The Hague in the event something happens to Tatay Digong. So, yun po ang latest updates natin tungkol kay Tatay Digong dyan po sa The Hague. And this time around, let's go on another topic. And ang topic natin is about itong report po. Let me share with you first itong report sa impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte. Inday Sara Duterte. Sandali po, nasaan na yung report? Let's see. Medyo interesting talaga ito po. And it is for this reason that I believe that it's only but proper for me to share with you itong recorded footages po, which I took it from the mainstream media dyan sa Pilipinas. Nandito po, let's listen to this.
Yung dalawa. Sa Miyerkules, August 6, tatalakayin ng Senado kung susundin nga ba nito o hindi ang Supreme Court ruling. May mga senador daw na nagsusulong na i-dismiss o ibasura na ang reklamo dahil nga sa desisyon ng Korte Suprema. Pero para kay Ontiveros, premature naman yan dahil wala pa nga ni isang ebidensyang napepresenta sa Korte. Ayon kay Senate President Chis Escudero, hindi niya pa nakikita ang kopya ng draft resolution. Pero una na siyang nagbabala na maaaring magkaroon ng constitutional crisis kung ipagpapatuloy pa rin ang paglilitis taliwas sa utos ng Korte Suprema. Kahit ang ilang minority senators iginiit na dapat respetuhin ang Supreme Court ruling. Paalala ni Deputy Minority Leader Mig Zubiri, Korte Suprema ang may final say sa mga constitutional issues at hindi raw dapat piliting buksan ang mga isyung naresolba na nito. Pero para kay Ontiveros, dapat ikonsidera rin ang tungkulin ng impeachment court na panagutin ang mga may salang opisyal.
Wala namang may gustong magkaroon ng constitutional crisis ni political gridlock o deadlock na sinabi naman ng ibang observers. Kaya nga talagang binubuno namin these days, these weeks, kung papaano tamang dapat kumilos ang Senado.
Si Senator Erwin Tulfo naman na bahagi ng majority bloc, gusto rin sanang ituloy ang impeachment trial.
Tuloy natin kasi nagantay na yung mga tao eh. Pero nga, lumabas nga itong desisyon. Paano yan ngayon?
Para sa impormasyong napapanahon at on demand, Amor Santos, Newswatch Plus.
Alright, yan po ang report sa mainstream media po dyan sa Manila regarding itong move ng opposition senators dyan po sa Senado. And another footage coming from Senator Risa Hontiveros po regarding the issue. Nandito po, let's listen to her.
Resolution, hindi joint resolution, pero resolution na tinatrabaho ng ilang mga senador. Kasama po ako.
Kinumpirma ni Senator Risa Ontiveros ang pagkakaroon ng Senate resolution sa impeachment case ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Kaugnay ito ng inilabas na desisyon ng Supreme Court na labag sa saligang batas ang Articles of Impeachment na naisampa ng Kamara. Ayon sa Senadora, laman ng resolusyon ang maraming argumento, opinyon at kanilang boto kapag natalakay na ang impeachment sa plenary session sa August 6.
It's more of draft pa rin siya sa ngayon pero nagsasite po siya ng mga references sa ilang mga dating justices. Opo, na nagbibigay ng payo kung paano, ilang mga gabay kung paano pwedeng mag-move forward. So, magbe-benefit po kami dyan kahit sa parating na debate sa August 6.
Okay, from Senator Risa, let's go to anong statement, anong feelings ni Senator Kiko, no? Kiko Pangilinan po regarding the issue. Nandito po, mga some informations regarding itong issue nila po regarding the resolution that they are going to pass come August 6 sa Senado plenary session ng Senado po. Alright, sandali, ito po si Senator Kiko Pangilinan po. This is a report coming from the mainstream media. Let's watch and listen to this report.
Patas na si Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan ang nangunguna sa pagbubuo at pagpapapirma ng draft ng naturang resolusyon. Sa isang text message, kinumpirma ni Senator Pangilinan na 4 na senador na ang nakapirma, kabilang siya at sina Senators Vicente Tito Soto III, Risa Ontiveros at Bam Aquino. Habang ang iba pa niyang nakausap nila ay pinag-aaralan pa ang resolusyon. Nagbabala naman ng isang miyembro ng House of Representatives sa posibleng maging epekto kung hindi re-reconsider ng Korte Suprema ang desisyon nito sa impeachment case laban kay VP Sara.
Pagka pinayagan ng Korte Suprema, ito pong desisyon po na ito at hindi po sila mag-reconsider, wala na hong ma-impeach sa Pilipinas. Kasi kahit sino pong mataas na opisyal, presidente, vice-presidente, Supreme Court Justice, meron lang po silang kaibigang kongresista, i-endorse po nila. Pre, mag-file ka rito ng impeachment laban sa akin. Whether galawin ho ng kongreso yan, hindi man yan galawin, magkikikin po yung 1-year ban.
Sinabi rin ni Senator Risa Ontiveros na patuloy nilang pinag-aaralan ang kanilang mga argumento na ihahain kapag binuksan na sa plenaryo ang usapin sa impeachment sa susunod na linggo.
Alright, that's it. Yan po ang mga video clips, footages that I would like to share sa mga followers natin po dito sa NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. Okay, for further information, I would like also to share with you an article from Philstar po, no? Regarding the issue po. Para at least malalaman ninyo po ano talaga itong issue na ito po, no? Alright, sandali ha. Saan na yun? Okay. Ito po, sandali. Alright. Ang title, ang heading of this news report is Senators as Supreme Court to apply fairness doctrine in Sara Duterte case. And ngayon, nandito ang detalles ng balita. Several senators have signed a resolution urging the Supreme Court to reconsider its recent decision that declared the impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte as unconstitutional. Senator Kiko Pangilinan confirmed that the resolution was signed by himself, Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Minority Leader Tito Soto, and Deputy Minority Leader Risa Ontiveros. The resolution released to the media cites the views of a former SC or Supreme Council Associate Justice Adolfo Ascuna, who said the ruling may be legal but was ultimately unfair. As Ascuna noted that the High Court redefined what constitutes initiating an impeachment complaint, and an interpretation that also appeared to contradict a prior Supreme Court ruling that the House of Representatives had complied with. Citing Acuna, the resolution argued that the Supreme Court should apply the doctrine of operative facts, which recognizes as valid any actions taken based on a previously accepted legal interpretation. A reconsideration, the senator said, would reconcile the constitutional functions of the High Court, the House, and the Senate. It is hereby resolved to express its profound sense that the Supreme Court consider the application of the fairness principle and the doctrine of operative facts in the context of the impeachment proceedings to ensure that the actions taken in reliance on previously established legal definitions are recognized as valid and the new interpretations are applied prospectively, the resolution read. In a unanimous and unexpected decision, the Supreme Court had earlier ruled Duterte's impeachment unconstitutional, declaring that the House violated the one-year ban by acting on the fourth of four filed complaints. Yan po. Yan po. And another article that I want to read, share with you po, ito po. Ito po. Ngayon naman, ang side ng Senado. The heading of the news article is 19 to 20 senators to abide by Supreme Court ruling on Sara Duterte's impeachment. Nandito po ang detalles ng itong news article. Senate President pro tempore Jinggoy Estrada said 19 to 20 senators believe that they should abide by the Supreme Court's ruling against the Senate proceedings with the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Estrada came up with the number after an all-senator caucus last Tuesday where they discussed the unanimous decision of the Supreme Court last week, declaring impeachment complaint against Duterte as unconstitutional. Most of the sentiments of my fellow senators are to abide by the ruling of the Supreme Court, he told reporters in a mixed Filipino and English Thursday night, or last night ito po. Press how many senators wanted the impeachment case dismissed right away, Estrada said, let's say, to abide by the ruling, around 19 to 20 senators. He said he based his observation on the body language and sentiments of his colleagues. Yan po. So, parang nakita natin, itong resolution made by the group of Tito Soto, no? Tito Soto po, sa forum, resolution was signed by Tito Soto, Kiko Pangilinan, Bam Aquino, and Senator Risa, no? Asking for the Senate to continue with the impeachment trial of Inday Sara Duterte will not prosper po. Dahil, according kay Senator Jinggoy Estrada, no? Based on his observation po, out of the 24 senators, sa 20th Congress po, 19 or 20 will vote for respect to the decision of the Supreme Court declaring the impeachment articles of Inday Sara Duterte as unconstitutional. Yet there will be opposition din po, and we will know these things August 6 po, because according to the Senate President Chis Escudero, they are going to discuss thoroughly ang issue ng impeachment of Inday Sara Duterte next week po, August 6. And we were also made to understand, narinig natin po, na ang House of Representatives, sila man yun po nag-file ang impeachment complaint against VP Sara, they will also be submitting a motion for reconsideration sa Supreme Court po, asking the Supreme Court to reverse ang decision nila declaring the impeachment article as unconstitutional. But remember again po, ang Supreme Court justices, out of the 15, kasi mayroon nag-abstain and one was absent, 13 of the justices unanimously po voted for declaring the impeachment article of Inday Sara Duterte as unconstitutional for obvious reasons po. It was already stated po, no? So, narinig natin maraming mga versions coming from former justices, coming from lawyers, coming from politicians, and other individuals po. No? Some are saying affirmative criticism, some are giving negative criticism. Now, for me, it is only resulting to confusions, no? Confusions lang yun po sa mga tao, no? Mga tao po. So, I think the best thing that we should do is wait until August 6. August 6 po. Konting tulog na lang yun, no? Konting tulog na yan, na lang yan po. Next week na yan po. And dyan po, malalaman natin po. Malalaman natin kung ano ang desisyon ng Senado po. It must be a unanimous or majority vote po, no? Ang desisyon ng Senado, ng 20th Congress or Senate po on August 6. So maghintay na lang tayo po. Maghintay na lang tayo. That's my advice. And ako, personally, I prefer not to listen anymore ang mga interpretations ng ibang tao, no? Regarding this issue. Siguro maghintay na lang tayo ang desisyon ng Senado. After that, kung matuloy, because ang House of Representatives are given 15 days yata po to file or submit their motion for reconsideration po dyan sa Supreme Court po. And then we will see po. No? We will see. And then after that, we have to wait again ano ang decision ng Supreme Court po. Whether it will favor ang request ng House of Representatives or hindi po. Or hindi po. So, yan po ang issues natin ngayon dito sa NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. And yes, going back sa earlier or sa title natin dito po today, August 1st, sa NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. Now, I've been receiving messages coming from the Filipino communities dito po sa Sabah. And as far as Kuala Lumpur po, and they were saying that huwag magiging hipokrito ang mga kongresista natin dyan sa Pilipinas. Now, they are referring po, they are referring to the segment of President Bongbong Marcos during his State of the Nation address when he mentioned about the mahiya kayo, yung mga tao involved sa kickbacks, sa SOP, asking for SOP, sa ghost projects po ng infrastructure development projects sa Pilipinas, particularly itong proyekto sa flood mitigation program po na si President Bongbong Marcos confirmed and made it very clear during his State of the Nation address that he knows and everybody knows that there is kickbacks, there is SOP demanding from government officials, even politicians, na mayroon na ghost projects po, no? And he's asking the Department of Public Works and Highway to submit to him the list of all the projects po from 2022 when he became the president hanggang ngayon po, and ano-ano mga problema, which are the ghost projects or bakit the reason behind why this project was not fully implemented, delayed, ano-ano mga problema po. The reason behind of the delays and cause of the problems. And he said once he will get this list of or this report po, then he will make sure that he will personally look into it. Is it personally? He will look into it, and at the same time he will take the necessary action to the extent of kung ang mga guilty parties, the names will be revealed to the public. It means it will be published to the public po. Published maybe sa radio, sa TV, sa newspaper po. And he meant a business when he said this thing po. So when he was making this statement po, dyan po sa State of the Nation address, majority, if not all, nakita naman ninyo po, majority, if not all of those present, mga congressmen present dyan po sa State of the Nation address, they uploaded ang statement or they clapped their hands when President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos mentioned this issue. To the extent that towards the end, he said, mahiya kayo. So, not only clapping their hands, but they also stood up, showing that they support the statement of President Bongbong Marcos. But some senators, like for example, Senator Ping Lacson, during interviews by the media, he also reportedly mentioned that he noticed some of these congressmen may konting ang body language nila po hindi maganda. Parang, I don't know, is it the right word to say, para may guilty faces sila po. No? And yes, unless proven guilty beyond reasonable doubts po by the court, no? Alam din natin po na mayroon mga congressista natin po, they are involved in this development projects po. They are the contractors po. Either they are the contractors or they play a very vital role in the approval or proposal of development projects po sa Pilipinas po. Kaya everybody knows na they are also involved. Not all, but there are several of them who are involved. And let's see whether the president will take action against these lawmakers. Imagine po, if it will come true that they are involved po, the credibility of the House of Representatives will be at stake. Big question mark po. Big question mark talaga yun po if proven po. Mayroon na, we heard about some congressmen po, obviously, really involved on this thing. Kaya nga, ang sigaw ng mga tao, wag sana kayo maging hipokrito po. Kung you are involved in this thing, mabuti pa you come out openly and tell to the president, tell to the public that, or explain what happened. Po. Rather than playing hypocrite po, no? Hypocrite po. When you're facing your constituents, you say you are clean. You are not corrupt. But sa totohanan po, you are involved in many corruption activities po. Kawawa ang mga Pilipino po. Kawawa mga overseas Filipino workers natin po who are doing the level best, sacrificing themselves po, magtrabaho sa ibang nasyon with all the risks they are confronted po. Only for the love of the country, wherein the remittances of the overseas Filipino workers is now helping, has been helping the economy of the country. And at the same time, they want their loved ones that they left behind temporarily dyan po sa Pilipinas to have a comfort, to have a better future, comfort also po in terms of public facilities po, utilities, no? And unfortunately, there are some irresponsible elected politicians natin po o lawmakers na they are not concerned about the difficulties faced by our overseas Filipino workers and even the other taxpayers po dyan sa Pilipinas. Yon po ang problema natin dyan sa Pilipinas. So let's hope and pray that the President Marcos meant what he said. Walk tall, Mr. President. Actions speak louder than words. Remember, saying something and doing something is another. Saying something and doing something and doing it is another. So let's all pray na at least matapos na itong mga problema natin dyan po sa Pilipinas para more or less our nation can start again. Be prosperous po, no? Be prosperous po. Of course, there must be unity, cooperation between the government and the people. But there can never be cooperation between the government and the people kung may mga doubts po, no? Accountability, no? Accountabilities, no? Some lawmakers keep on shouting since last year or the past few years po about accountability of Vice President Inday Sara Duterte. But they themselves should submit themselves for investigation po on graft and corruption. Kagaya sa Manila, this has been a hot issue po. Mayroon isang congressman dyan po. May isang congressman. And the newly elected mayor of Manila, si Moreno, si Yorme, he even mentioned about the name of the congressman po, si Congressman Joel Chua po, wherein involved siya sa project po, and it was demolished. Naglagay siya or he helped in one way or the other build a barangay hall, a building po, dyan po sa daan. And when Mayor Yorme took over last month as the elected mayor of Manila, he instructed to demolish the structure. Why po? Because there was no permits po, building permits. The Department of Public Works of Highway were not aware or was not aware of the project po, no? And it is illegal. So just imagine, our own lawmaker violated our law of the land. Law of the land. But anyway, let's see po. Let's see what will happen next po in this particular case dyan po sa Manila. And according to Mayor Yorme, during an interview with Ted Filon this morning sa programa niya, Ted Filon, now he also mentioned that there are other projects po which he is looking into, which are having big question mark dyan po sa area of responsibility niya po as a mayor of Manila po. And I suppose not only in Manila, other projects po, no? Mayroon din yung mga other projects po sa ibang parte sa Pilipinas po na having the same scenario, having the same problem po. So, sana lang po, wag na maging hipokrito ang mga lawmakers natin po. I'm not saying the House of Representatives lang po. That goes also to that also goes to our senators po if they are involved. If they are involved in hanky-panky activities dyan po sa Pilipinas. Dyan po sa Pilipinas. Okay. Now, now let's go on another topic. The other topic that I want to touch is on also a very, sabihin natin, hot issue po since the past few or several days po, no? About the complaint on indirect contempt filed by Attorney Topacio and Attorney Mark Tolentino po dyan po sa Supreme Court po. Yesterday ba yun? Nandito po. Let's listen to the statement of Attorney Topacio po regarding the issue. Okay, sandali po. Okay, nandito po.
And always a pleasure to be here at Filipinarian News Channel.
It's always a pleasure to have you here. So let's start with the case that you filed that also made headlines. Why did you file an indirect contempt case against Larry Gadon and also against other personalities. I believe Richard Haydarian was also one of the people that was a respondent in the case.
The cases against Mr. Haydarian and Congressman Sedanya were filed by attorneys Mark Tolentino and Rolex Suplico, also a former congressman. I was the one who filed a case against Secretary Larry Gadon, who is a good friend of mine, and it was thus with a heavy heart that I filed that case. However, I had to do my duty. As you know very well that we are members of the Philippine Bar and thus officers of the court. And it is our duty to uphold the integrity and reputation of the Supreme Court.
What specific statements of Larry Gadon do you think is at the level of indirect contempt?
Larry has always been, colorful in his language and his actuations. But in this particular instance, I believe that he crossed the line by calling the Supreme Court thrice, not once, not twice, but thrice, as tuta ng mga Duterte or puppets or lackeys or lapdogs of the Duterte family. In fact, he even singled out the Chief Justice as one of the tutas ng mga Duterte.
But Chief Justice Leonen is an appointee of former President Benigno Aquino III, hindi ni President Duterte.
Exactly, and one of the concurring justices, the newest in the brethren of the Supreme Court, Justice Raul Villanueva, is an appointee of the incumbent.
Of President Bongbong Marcos.
Yes, I do not know where Mr. Gadon is coming from, and regardless of the truth of that, which I do not concede, of course, his statements tended to cast aspersions on the integrity, on the independence, and the reputation of our Supreme Court, which, as a member of the bar, I could not countenance.
Well, that kind of rhetoric, yung sinasabi na tuta ang Supreme Court ni the former President Duterte, ano yung masasabi mo sa mga criticisms na iba na sinasabi na yung Supreme Court decision on the impeachment was because yung mga majority of the sitting justices are Duterte appointees?
There have been instances where the so-called Duterte appointees did not act in favor of the former president. Case in point, the petition wherein a temporary restraining order was sought by the lawyers of President Duterte as regards the then impending arrest and rendition to the Netherlands of the former president. It was not acted upon. Had it been true, as alleged by Mr. Gadon, that they were subservient to the Dutertes, they would have immediately issued a TRO, considering the patent illegality, in my opinion, of the actions against the former president. But in fact, they did not. And they allowed the former president to be brought outside of the country into the Hague, where he is now in detention.
Yeah, which reminds me, there's a pending petition for habeas corpus still pending in the Supreme Court in relation to the arrest and what you call rendition of former President Duterte to the Hague. Ano na bang status ng case? And do you know if there are any updates?
I would not know. I'm not one of the lawyers to any of the
Yeah.
parties to that case. But in my humble opinion as a lawyer, that remedy would now be unavailing because Mr. Duterte is now beyond the territorial jurisdiction of our courts. That is exactly what happened to Mr. Teves in Timor-Leste. The Tribunal de Recursos of Timor-Leste had in fact issued a writ of habeas corpus while Mr. Teves was still in the territory of Timor-Leste, but it was also disregarded by the Timor-Leste authorities and he was brought to the Philippines.
Well, it's
Alright, yun po ang statement ni Attorney Topacio po when it comes to the indirect contempt complaint submitted by him dyan po sa Supreme Court. This time around, I will show you another footage and itong ang interview kay Richard Haydarian. No? Richard Haydarian, also part of the among the three Topacio complaint at the Supreme Court po. Nandito po. Let's listen to this.
You know, obviously this is just a frivolous case because I think the only material they were referring to, because I reached out to different ex-justices, there Ascuna, Carpio. I actually even reached out to the Supreme Court and tried to get an interview with them to be fair about this. I had I think a tweet or something like that about just the fact that 13 out of 15 justices by 2022 were appointed by the former president. But I made it absolutely clear, including in my Philippine Daily Inquirer column this week, that just because you're appointed by someone, that doesn't necessarily mean your vote along certain lines. So I was very clear about that. And therefore, in my opinion, what is malicious here, what is being twisted here is my tweet and my interventions on social media and a complete, lack of attention to all of the caveats and context and everything I put there. Not to mention, I've consistently on Twitter and different platforms said, there's no point in attacking the justices, including, progressive justices like Justice Leon. And so all of this are on the record. So actually, I was surprised that they put me there. Kaya suspect ako, baka nilagay lang ako dahil maraming naasar sa mga tore, taunting ko. Diba? So that's why I find it very frivolous. But I have high hopes and high confidence in our highest court and our good justices not to bother with them to dispense with these kinds of frivolous petitions. I mean, just to be nice about it, I mean, when I was saying, like, who are these people even filing this? I mean, like, it's a gallery of rogues.
Nasabi ko nga
It's
sana.
a gallery of rogues. Yung isa, family name pa lang. Parang yung isa naman, parang, I mean, you just Google, I don't know kung may Wikipedia page yung mga tao na, just Google their background. And then you also have people from this, like, banned party list there. Like, I think that speaks for itself about the credibility of this whole process and all of
But
that.
you haven't been particularly safe with your commentaries on social media, right? Ang dami mo ring mga statements there.
I have statements on West Philippine Sea, I have statements on other things, but as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, while I've expressed my dissatisfaction with its implications, and I've interviewed people who have disagreed with its merit, these are legal luminaries. At the end of the day, I think I was very clear that this is not about attacking the integrity of the institution, because at the end of the day, that undermines faith in our own democracy. And I also find it the brazen hypocrisy here of certain people trying to supposedly stand for the court when in fact they also stand with the president, a former president who was directly attacking the Supreme Court back in the day, including the former Chief Justice. I mean, remember the whole co-warrant to drama and all of that. So I see a lot of brazen hypocrisy there. But one thing I want to emphasize here, as columnists, as journalists, as public educators, the principle of verbi legis, right? The idea that it is not the monopoly of constitutional law experts to discuss matters of national interest, matters of Supreme Court ruling. I think all of us, as long as you can understand basic English,
And it is public information.
It is public information.
Sino yung mga appointees ni Duterte.
Yes, exactly. And mentioning of facts, last time I checked, is not necessarily crime. Especially when you put a caveat, especially when below that, I mean, you can check the tweet I shared with you.
Babalikan ko nga eh.
Yeah, it's very clear in the tweet, right?
Sinabi ni Richard D. Darian, fact, Duterte had appointed as many as 13 out of 15 Supreme Court justices by 2022, and this reached 200,000 views.
And then
After that, on the same day, he said,
No, it's
nevertheless,
under the same tweet, actually. Nevertheless, the decision was unanimous and would be unfair to automatically cast judgment just because of appointment patterns. And then I also said, check the Supreme Court site here, citing the tweet. And then this is also when I reached out to the Supreme Court and asked them if I could interview them, but it looks like they're still not open to open interview at this point in time. So that's why I was really surprised with this kind of thing. So
Alright, yan po ang side ni Richard Hedarian, no? Hedarian po. And this time around, let's also see or hear the side of Congressman Sendanya, no? Sendanya. But before giving you the clippings or footage of Congressman Sendanya, shoutout muna tayo kay Mary Lou Pentojo is also watching itong programa natin, NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. And of course, I cannot see all the names, I cannot read all the names. Thank you very much sa inyong lahat po for watching itong NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico. So ngayon, nandito na po ang reaction ni Congressman Sendanya po when it comes to the issue po of indirect contempt. Let's listen to him. ang interview niya po.
Reaksyon ay, in the words of Miss Universe 2015 Pia Wershbach, it's both an honor and a great responsibility. Isang napakalaking karangalan po ang mahanay kasama sila Senator Risa Ontiveros at Congresswoman Leila de Lima na tinatarget at hinaharas ng mga followers ni Kubuloy at saka ni Duterte. Kung tayo man po ay hinaharas ng mga taong ito na alam naman natin na alleged pedophile at mass murderer, then I am at peace. Obvious na modus ito ng mga Duterte para patahimikin ang kanilang mga kritiko. Kanila pong binibiktima ng legal harassment para tumigil magsalita tungkol sa katibalian, pangungulimbat at pag-aabuso nila sa kapangyarihan. Lumang kwento na po ito. Wala na bang bagong strategy? Napaka-ironic na makasuhan ng indirect contempt ng mga ito na alam naman natin sa kanilang record sa presinto, wala namang respeto sa rule of law. Manalabin po sila. Sila pa talaga ang nagkaso ng contempt. Kung ito ang consequence ng pananagot kay VP Sara Duterte sa kanyang pangungulimbat sa kaban ng bayan at pang-aabuso sa kapangyarihan, again, I am at peace. Kung ito po ang halaga at bayad sa ating paninindigan para sa katotohanan at katarungan, caring-carry naman. Kasi sa dulo, ang mahalaga, manindigan para sa taong bayan.
Alright, yun po ang side ni statement ni Congressman Sendanya po, no? Sa issue na yan po, indirect contempt. Filed by Topacio, Attorney Topacio and Attorney Mark Tolentino po yesterday, dyan po sa Supreme Court sa Maynila or dyan po sa Pilipinas. So, okay, we touched everything already on the topic for today. But before I will conclude itong programa natin, let me pass another news po. Importante ito po para sa mga Pilipinos, both dito sa Sabah at sa mga Filipinos dyan po sa Zamboanga, Basilan, Sulu, and Tawi-Tawi. Now, dumating ang Allison Shipping Line, ang MB Allison Antonia 1, kahapon po from Zamboanga City. It means they left Zamboanga City Wednesday afternoon. Dumating sila dito po sa Sandakan, Sabah, no? Port yesterday afternoon, shortly after 5 p.m. no? And as a normal practice, now they have to go to the immigration counter for stamping of their passport po, no? But while nasa proseso po ang stamping of passport ng mga pasahero po, dumating ang directive coming from the Sabah Security Council asking the immigration officials doing the stamping of passport po or arrival, no? Arrival of passengers mag-chop ang passport nila po. It was they were ordered to stop or halt the stamping of the passport po for security reason po. So I think almost half of the passengers managed to get the necessary stamping and lumabas pa na po sa port terminal po, and the rest, no, was immediately stopped and escorted again sa barko po. They were brought back to the vessel and wait for the departure of the vessel in the evening, last night po, back to Zamboanga City for reasons of, sabihin natin, security purposes po. Now, ang deportation schedule for the Filipino deportation scheduled yesterday was postponed because of the directive coming from the State Security Council, no? To stop the stamping of the passport po. So, the postponement po and the announcement or resumption or the new date of the deportation exercise will be announced anytime by the relevant authorities concerned. Now, excuse me, I was also made to understand that there were slightly over 100 passengers who bought the ticket bound for Zamboanga City, no? Bound for Zamboanga City. But they were not allowed to board the vessel or chop their passport po dahil of the directive from the State Council, State Security Council po. So, the management of Allison is reminding and announcing all the passengers affected by the cancellation of the arrivals of MB Antonia 1 to keep the tickets, and it will still be valid on the next trip po. However, sabi naman ang Allison management na they're not happy with the expenses occurred from Zamboanga City coming to Sandakan and now going back to Zamboanga empty-handed po, no? Empty-handed. So, yun po. But anyway, they say they respect, they understand and respect the decision of the State Security Council po in halting the stamping of passport ng mga pasahero kahapon dyan po sa Sandakan. So, stay tuned na kayo. Stay tuned with this NikTok, the Real Talk with Nico, because should there be any announcement regarding the scheduled trips from Zamboanga City to Sandakan, Sandakan to Zamboanga po, I will make sure that you will get informed or be informed dito po sa programa natin, NikTok, the Real Talk with Nico. So in the meantime, siguro hanggang dito na lang po. And don't forget po, today is the first day of the month. And we are now entering to a new month, that is August po. So let us make the most out of this first day and the new month of August po. Para sa kabutihan, hindi lang para sa atin, but para sa pamilya natin, sa mga kaibigan natin dito sa Malaysia, ang bayan natin ng Pilipinas po, and for everybody. So with this, I would like to say once again, thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.